because it cannot accommodate more than. No, that's not it. See, it's like that. Just go down, find it. Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna. There it is. That's it. That's the one. Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama. Oops. Okay. Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Rama Rama Hari Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hare Krishna Kak Pajavayatya. Slava Srila Prabhupada. Et Kak Zavok. Uznayan. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. Kak Zavok. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Huh? Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You sure us? Okay, okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jai Nehal, Rajendra Nandan, Samandra Yogendra Jai Prakash, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Rama, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Govinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare. Okay, I decreased. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram. So is it okay? Okay, and have you heard feedback from the devotees about the seminar? Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, well, that's good. Хорошо. Okay, продолжаем. Еще вот 8 минут, да? 8. Я должен проверить, во сколько сейчас. Точно. Jai Siddhanta Prabhu, Shamananda Prabhu, Amrita Sukumari, Rajib, Siddhanta Acharya. Okay, yeah. Еще 8 минут. Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari Hari Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram, Hari Ram. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari Hari, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Oops. Okay, Hare Krishna. Instagram, uvidimся потом. Хорошо. Спасибо за общение. Rama Rama, it's okay, it'll just switch off. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Well, do you know how to do this? It'd be good if you learned. So the video's finished, but we want to share it to IGTV. Then we sit here, wait for the picture to come, hit next, then title. And what we call it is Japa, July, you could put the date, July 7 p.m. means the evening, and post. And then if we were like in the morning gonna run it again, then we wait for this and we just hit that. You know how to do that one, and then put it live. So maybe you can, yeah. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Oops. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare. Just watch out for that. Yeah. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. All right. All right. All right. All right. Already. Hare Krishna. Oops. Okay. Yeah. All right. See you later. What can be done about that? Hare Krishna, devotees. Welcome to our 25th session of our Nectar of Devotion seminar. Sorry we missed last night, but with all the situation with the departure of His Holiness Bhakti Churu Maharaj, yeah, I just had to sort of involve myself there to give support. So, but let us carry on now. And we're going on to chapter 14 of Nectar of Devotion, which is titled Devotional Qualifications. And to start off with, of course, we will chant the dedication to the six Goswamis. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipano Sadharma Samstapako Lokanamitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopalako. It's stormy outside, so you may hear some noise from the wind blowing. So here's the translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they're honored all over the three worlds, and they're worth taking shelter of because they're absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschitya Deshatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yes, so Hare Krishna devotees, and now we go on to Chapter 14, Devotional Qualifications, which you can note is the last chapter of the section on Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, the practice of devotional service according to rules and regulations given by the spiritual master and given by scripture. Yes, so that section began in chapter 6, and here it is now concluding in chapter 14. So, as of course you would be well aware if you've been following the seminar, we went through all the angas, the different limbs of devotional service, particularly of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. All the different rules, you could also say. There are different ways of looking at it. Yes, and we went through all of them. We discussed every single one. Then in the previous chapter 13, there was a further discussion, further elaboration on the 5 most important rules or angas, that one should worship the deity with great faith and reverence. One should study the Srimad Bhagavatam with pure devotees. One should associate with devotees who have the same, who are more advanced than you, but they have the same tastes in devotional service. Basically means they're in the same line of the parampara as you. And then to perform, to chant the holy names of the Lord, particularly, actually the term used was Sankirtan. And then finally, to live in a sacred place like Mathura or Vrindavan. So those principles, those angas, those rules got discussed in quite some depth, actually. And then what did we find? At the end of chapter 13, it was rather unusual, was suddenly something totally different from these 5 most exalted activities. Suddenly, right at the end, I think was the last 3 paragraphs, there was a discussion about Varnashram and how ultimately it's not so important, although in the beginning it may help. In the beginning it may help, but the main thing is to be Krishna conscious. So, you know, these chapters, just for your information, I could inform you that this chapter, the chapter actually on sadhana bhakti, not just Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, but all of sadhana bhakti, the introduction, our chapters 2 to 5, then these 6 to 14, and the chapters we're going to start going into tomorrow, 15 and 16, on Raganuga sadhana bhakti. In the original Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, these 3 are 1 chapter. They are 1 chapter, but our editors have divided these things up into sort of, would you say, bite-size portions? Anyway, sort of like manageable chapter lengths. But having said that, to some degree, particularly with all these different rules or angas, to some degree, one does get the feeling there's a bit of sort of, you might say, arbitrariness going on there, in that, you know, it's just for the sake of convenience that the editors have divided up these things. And I would say, frankly, in this case, that the section on Varnashram at the end of chapter 13 probably would have been better off as part of chapter 14, rather than, you know, mixing it up with these very exalted angas of devotional service. Anyway, be that as it may, we're going on now into chapter 14, and the subject here in this last chapter, I mean, as our Nectar of Devotion is laid out, the subject here in this last chapter is a question, you could say, examining a question. What is the position, or is there a position? Are there positions in devotional service for jnana and vairagya? Interesting question. Jnana in the sense, jnana not in the sense of should we read Bhagavad Gita or not, but jnana in the sense, more in the sense of that introductory knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, how we are not these bodies, we're eternal spiritual persons, and what is our position in this world? What are the problems of living in this world for the eternal spirit soul? And how, what are the problems? What are the dangers of becoming materially attached in this material world? Yes, this sort of thing could go under the heading of jnana in the context of Bhagavad Gita. In a broader sense, the term jnana, as we know, we discussed quite some time ago, a few weeks ago, when we were still in the introduction, and we read our Paribhas Sutra, if you recall, that the definition of what is pure devotional service. And there the term jnana was used. And yabilashita shunyam, jnana karma dhyanavritam. Yes, so the term jnana was used there, and in a particular context, because, actually the fact is, even what we are discussing right now at this nectar of devotion, it all comes under the heading of jnana. It's like Krishna jnana. It's Krishna conscious knowledge. But there's this habit or practice of using the term jnana more often than not to indicate something on the more impersonal side. And if you think about it, right at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, when Lord Krishna explains how we're not these bodies, we shouldn't lament for birth or death, you know all these things. This, of course, it's being presented by Lord Krishna, and gradually he's going to bring it to the point that we're not simply spirit souls, but we are spirit souls who are eternal servants of Krishna. The presentation there in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is all in that context of just making a beginning in a process leading up to the understanding that we're eternal servants of Krishna, eternal spirit souls in that sense. But otherwise, that knowledge can be taken in impersonal ways. The knowledge from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And indeed, there are many translators and commentators on Bhagavad Gita who do exactly that. Even, you might, I don't know if you'd be surprised to know, but maybe you would. There are some people, famous in India, who translate and comment on Bhagavad Gita only up to the 6th chapter. They don't go beyond. And those 6 chapters, they take in very impersonal ways. So these are the questions, or this is the question. Is there a place for jnana? Some sort of very basic spiritual knowledge, just of the soul distinct from matter. Is there a place in Krishna consciousness for that? And is there a place in Krishna consciousness just for renunciation? in and of itself. Just give up this world and that's it. Nothing more than that. I mean, in terms of the meaning of your renunciation, or the sort of the purport, the result, what you may be trying to achieve. So is there a place in Krishna consciousness for this jnana, kind of impersonal knowledge, basically just of the soul, and vairagya, just simple renunciation? So this is what we're going to discuss this evening, before we go on tomorrow night into Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, which is, sure, really on a much higher level and quite a stimulating subject matter. All right, so let's go through, as usual, paragraph by paragraph. The idea is to go through the whole chapter this evening. Right, so we go into chapter 1, and what do we see? Srila Prabhupada makes the point that some scholars, means he's referring to the type of people I mentioned, people who translate Bhagavad Gita and do commentaries, that sort of person. Some scholars say that jnana and vairagya are important for elevating oneself to devotional service. But Srila Prabhupada, very quickly, in the second sentence of the whole chapter, he basically dismisses this idea. But actually, that is not a fact. Yeah. Now, but then he qualifies that. And this is a very important point for us who are studying Nectar of Devotion and just in Krishna consciousness in general. Having said that actually it's not a fact that knowledge, jnana, and renunciation are important factors for elevating oneself to devotional service. Prabhupada says, actually, that cultivation of that knowledge and renunciation, they are favorable for achieving a footing in devotional service, just in the very beginning. But when you get beyond the very beginning, then they become irrelevant. And as we'll go through, Prabhupada's going to discuss at some length. And ultimately, they become anartha, actually. They become undesirable. They become like obstacles in the cultivation of actual Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada, he's sort of summing things up in this first chapter. So he says they may be, first paragraph, they may be accepted in the beginning, but ultimately they may also come to be rejected, for devotional service is dependent on nothing other than the sentiment or desire for such service. It requires nothing more than sincerity, really. So the point is, it may help in the beginning. I mean, these two things may help. But once you get beyond the beginning, and even they may not help in the beginning also, but at most, if they do help in the beginning, once you get beyond the beginning, then they don't help. Or as we mentioned, they may even become anartha. They may become obstacles. Yeah. So Prabhupada says, devotional service is dependent on nothing other than the sentiment. You know, when Prabhupada's using the term sentiment, he's not meaning just some sort of, cheap emotional type of feeling. But, he's referring to something much deeper than that. Yeah. All right, so there we have the basic summary. This is what is going to be discussed now in this chapter in different ways. So let's go in. Paragraph 2. Now, jnana and renunciation. Now, jnana and vairagya, Prabhupada now translates them as mental speculation and artificial austerity. You know, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna tells us we're not these bodies and explains in different ways a few implications of that. That's not mental speculation. But anyway, you got to be careful with mental speculation. And artificial austerities, following our 4 regulative principles, is not artificial austerity. It is vairagya. It is vairagya. So we do jnana in the sense of as like the idea that we're not this body and the different perspectives on that subject. And we do vairagya in the sense of particularly following the 4 regulative principles. And we all know that to get initiated, you have to follow all the 4 regulative principles. Actually, you should become steady in following them. Means able to follow them without difficulty, without it really being a challenge. You know, am I going to be able to maintain these standards? So another way of looking at this idea of, say, in relation particularly, or in relation to jnana and vairagya, but mainly particularly vairagya, renunciation, is that until one has come to the point of being able to follow the regulative principles, you could say reasonably comfortably, could we say like that, or at least without great difficulty, you are still in this, what Prabhupada's referred to, you're still in the beginning. You're still somewhere in the beginning. You're still really getting a footing in your devotional service. Yeah. So Prabhupada, in the second paragraph, brings up a very important point that this jnana and vairagya, they can be helpful, and in our cases, in the beginning stages, they are helpful, actually. But if you don't watch out, if you're not careful, then Prabhupada says, they will also make one's heart harder and harder. This is the problem. Both jnana and particularly vairagya, they will tend to make the heart harder. Because jnana means I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not these emotions, these feelings, all these things, they got nothing to do with me. And so one may tend to become sort of emotionless or hard-hearted. Yeah, like that. And then the renunciation, just rejecting this, rejecting that, rejecting friends, rejecting association, rejecting nice things. All this tends to make the heart harder. So that's a problem, main problem really with jnana and vairagya, that they harden the heart quite easily if you're not careful. And in this way, you will tend to develop an impersonal approach. You'll tend towards impersonalism. So Prabhupada again repeats something he just said in the first paragraph. Well, he says these processes are not favorable for entering into the transcendental loving service, means a more advanced level of Krishna consciousness. And actually, Krishna consciousness, devotional service itself, is the only way of advancing in devotional life. Devotional service is absolute, it's both the cause and the effect. Yes. Krishna is absolute, and the process of devotional service is absolute. And therefore, we have to take to devotional service wholeheartedly and not get sidetracked by jnana and vairagya. So that's the basic sort of essence of the discussion, frankly. Yeah, well, that's the beginning. There's more. So then in the third paragraph, Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita to reinforce this. Jnana, knowledge. In this context now, jnana means to understand Krishna. And in this verse, Krishna says that he can only be understood through devotional service. And Krishna tells Arjuna, because you're my devotee, I'm teaching you these things. You know that verse? Chapter 4, verse 3. Saevaya maya tejya yoga prokta praratna bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hyetad uttamam. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you're my devotee as well as my friend, and therefore can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So in this sense, even jnana, real, like the deeper jnana, Krishna jnana, Krishna conscious knowledge, is dependent on devotional service. And Prabhupada's going to go on and make the point that not only is jnana dependent on devotional service, like deeper jnana, but a deeper level of vairagya is also dependent on devotional service. Yeah, not that devotional service is dependent on those things. So let's go on. In the fourth paragraph, the 11th canto is quoted, Krishna's telling Arjuna that, Uddhava, for people who are seriously engaged in my service, the cultivation of jnana and vairagya are not very favorable. When someone becomes my devotee, he automatically attains the fruits of renunciation and gets knowledge. Yeah. And Prabhupada says, a devotee cannot be in darkness because the Lord shows him special favor and enlightens him from within. In the fifth paragraph, it's the same point, basically. I mean, it is the same point. It's actually a very nice verse. Let's just read this verse here from the fifth paragraph. My dear friend, well, it's also Krishna speaking to Uddhava. My dear friend, the profits derived from fruitive activities, austerities, the culture of philosophical knowledge, renunciation, the practice of mystic yoga, charity, and all similar auspicious activities are automatically achieved by my devotees. They have everything at their disposal, although they know they desire nothing other than devotional service. But even, Krishna says, if ever a devotee should desire some material profit, here, of course, he's talking not just about jnana and vairagya, but about a number of things. If the devotee should desire something outside devotional service, some material profit, going to the heavenly planets, some spiritual profit, going to Vaikuntha, by my causeless mercy, his desires are very easily fulfilled. So that's including jnana and vairagya. But of course, the good news is, I mean, in the sense of a devotee possibly desiring something other than devotional service, which, is not the best idea. It's not a good idea. But even if the devotee does, Krishna may still help them. So in the 6th paragraph, it's Srila Prabhupada speaking. Actually, a person who's developing Krishna consciousness and still has some attachment to material enjoyment will soon be freed from such a tendency by regularly discharging devotional service under the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master. All right, then we come to the 7th paragraph, and it's very important actually. This is now where Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada address the idea of renunciation in Krishna consciousness. Jnana, knowledge in a Krishna conscious sense, Gyan in a Krishna conscious sense, has already been addressed to some degree from Bhagavad Gita and in these verses spoken from the 11th chapter. But this 7th paragraph is now the paraphrasing of a very important verse written by Srila Rupa Goswami, which appears in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjata nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate, which, anyway, the direct translation is, when one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness or above being materially attached. So this is Krishna conscious detachment. This is Krishna conscious renunciation. This is Krishna conscious vairagya. Yes, that one simply accepts that everything belongs to Krishna, which is true. It's just a matter of accepting reality, and then at least any decent person, just even in ordinary material life, at least any decent person, if they see something which is not their property, then they don't get into it like, oh, I should try and get that. If there's a car parked, there are cars parked all over, and you happen to walk past one car, which is not your car, then generally people don't start thinking that I want to get it, so I should steal it. They know it's somebody else's, So at least generally any decent person doesn't even think, it doesn't occur to them that I should try to take that car. So similarly, everything belongs to Krishna, and a devotee who understands that clearly will just in a very natural way not be attached to the different objects of this world for his or her personal sense gratification, because it belongs to Krishna. It's Krishna's. So this is actually a definition. It's a really important verse. It's a definition of Krishna conscious renunciation or Krishna conscious austerity. That it's not really renunciation. It's not really austerity. It's just recognizing the fact that everything belongs to Krishna. Yes. So, okay. And Prabhupada makes some points then. For example, so eating is necessary, and people want to eat something nice. So therefore, for the satisfaction of Krishna, not for our satisfaction, we prepare something nice and offer it to Krishna. And then we can take the remnants. Yeah, but our idea, the idea there is that when the devotee is cooking, the devotee is thinking, this is for Krishna, and not, it's for me, but I just have to offer it to Krishna as a formality. No, it is for Krishna, it is Krishna's, and by his mercy I may get a little of his remnants at the end. All right, so there's a special question here for those doing Bhakti Shastri. It's an example of someone doing this, basically. You can note down if you're doing Bhakti Shastri, the verse references. There's 2 verses. They're both Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 13, both verses, Adi Leela, chapter 13, and they're verses 67 and 70. 67 and 70. And the translation is, and you're meant to learn, sort of memorize something from this, but Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu felt pained to see all the people without Krishna consciousness simply merging in material sense enjoyment. Advaita Acharya Prabhu, promising to cause Lord Krishna to descend, began to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna with tulsi leaves and water of the Ganges. So he offered it to Krishna. So the question is, how did Advaita Acharya worship Krishna? What did he do? What did he offer? Okay, so we go on now to the 8th paragraph, and in the 8th paragraph is also an important verse, because now it is contrasting that Krishna conscious renunciation or detachment, vairagya, contrasting that with just sort of regular materialistic detachment or even impersonal type of detachment. So Prabhupada says the impersonalists who try to avoid everything material, they may undergo severe austerities. They miss the opportunity of being engaged in the service of the Lord, and thus their renunciation is not sufficient for perfection. The verse is, okay. prapanchi kataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshabi parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. And it's like the next verse after the one about Krishna conscious renunciation. Here's the translation. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. This is the point here. Both the devotee and this impersonalist, or whatever he is, materialistic renunciate, both of them are renouncing. But the devotee is doing it in such a natural way, it's effortless, just by recognizing the relationship everything has with Krishna. So anyway, actually Prabhupada goes on in paragraphs 9 and 10. Paragraphs 9 and 10, he talks about these impersonalists and people like that, materialistic renunciates, or mainly impersonalists actually, in 9 and 10, that these people, they're trying to renounce, but because they haven't got devotional service, they cannot actually renounce. They may try to fight with their material desires, having a battle with their mind, having a battle with their senses, but they cannot become free. And therefore what happens? Well, what happens to some of them is they just fall back into material life and just become materialistic sense gratifiers and just break principles and all that. But some of them, as Prabhupada explains here in 9 and 10, they try to make excuses that actually we are renounced, although they're not. They're doing materialistic things. So Prabhupada talks there how they may come down to doing philanthropic activity. Some of them do like that. They perform philanthropic activity, but they give an excuse. They give the excuse that, well, a typical excuse is service to man is service to God. Yeah. Human beings are like manifestations of God. So if we serve humans, we're serving God. You know, Srila Prabhupada, I've mentioned before, he was having a discussion with some young men and trying to preach to them in India. And they said, well, you know, it's okay. We're doing the same thing as you. We're serving the poor people, because service to man is service to God. Prabhupada, of course, was telling them to serve Krishna. But they're saying, well, service to man is service to Krishna. And Prabhupada responded that if service to man is service to God, then service to God is service to man. Haribol. We mentioned this not long ago, and they didn't know what to do about that. Because if two things are equal this way, they're equal that way too. And then Prabhupada just raised the question that it's just a matter of which is easier. You want to serve man or serve God if you say they're equal. Serving mankind, all humanity, means I don't know how many billion now. I'm sure nobody knows, but it's at least 7 billion. You try and serve all of them. Good luck. But serve God, serve Krishna. Then Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram pushpam palam toyam, yome bhaktya prayachate, tadaham bhaktya paritam, ashnami prayatatmanaha. Just offer me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit, or water. Krishna says, I'll accept it. Krishna will be pleased. So you will have achieved the goal of pleasing God in a much easier way than trying to serve humanity. So 9 and 10, but then Prabhupada in 10 also extends the idea of yukta vairagya, that's what we call it. Yukta vairagya means Krishna conscious renunciation, where we see everything belonging to Krishna, therefore we have no attachment. As opposed to Falgu Vairagya, Falgu meaning fruitive renunciation. And an interesting point about Falgu Vairagya, there is a river in India called the Falgu River. And you go there, and what do you see? You don't see anything. There is no river. But there's a sign, Falgu River. No, but what happened to the river? But if you go out, there's a sort of riverbed there because in the rainy season, some river may come. But after the rainy season, it just dries up. But if you go out onto the riverbed and you start digging, in a little while, you find water. So the river is there. It is there, but you can't see it. So similarly, this materialistic Falgu Vairagya means that they're trying to renounce on the surface, but within their hearts, inside, there's a river of material desire going on. But anyway, now we say in 10, Prabhupada is expanding or developing the idea of yukta vairagya. Yukta, the word yukta in Sanskrit, is it's more or less a synonym of yoga, more or less a synonym. And sometimes Krishna uses yukta in place of the word yoga in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, they are more or less synonyms. So yukta vairagya then means renunciation through yoga, of course, means linking with Krishna. So renunciation through linking with Krishna. That's what yukta vairagya means. And Prabhupada says here, this is paragraph 10, which incidentally begins, one should not give up anything which can be utilized in the service of the Lord. That is a secret of devotional service. Anything that can be utilized in advancing Krishna consciousness and devotional service should be accepted, like devotees, 2 computers, 2 cameras, a telephone, and we were using another telephone, and this fancy microphone. We're using them. We're definitely using them in devotional service, and they're really helping so much. They're helping hundreds of devotees All right, all right. And here's a special question, a second special question. It's based on, note this down, please, Srimad Bhagavatam 3:29-21. 3:29-21, which says, anything that can be, oh no, sorry, a devotee should try to understand everything in relationship with Krishna and try to serve everything in that spirit. To serve everything means to engage everything in the service of Krishna. So there will be a question about that. You better be ready or else. So let's carry on. We'll just, I don't know if we'll end the chapter, but we'll make some further progress at least. Yeah, okay. Paragraph 11, this is interesting. Prabhupada points out how some people accuse us when we use something nice in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes materialistic people criticize us and say we're not spiritual, we're materialistic. And there's a famous, I mean, there's many examples of that, but there's a really famous example. Somewhere in America, I forget where, Prabhupada was picked up at the airport in a rented Rolls-Royce. And, you know, Rolls-Royce means, you know, you probably know what Rolls-Royce means. Mercedes-Benz, they're just for common people. Rolls-Royce, those are for the, the more special people. So he got picked up in a Rolls-Royce. And there was one reporter there who saw that. And she was shocked. She was shocked. And she came back to the temple and met with Prabhupada and started saying that this is very bad. I thought you were spiritual, but look at you. You're being picked up in a Rolls-Royce. And so Prabhupada explained that actually everything belongs to God. So the best should be offered to God. It's only right. And the representative of God should be treated like God. So Prabhupada then said, so you're right. It is not good that they picked me up in a Rolls-Royce because it is just tin. It's a special type of aluminium, actually, which doesn't rust. One thing about Rolls-Royces. Yeah. I know a few things, actually. So, yeah. But Prabhupada said, it's just tin. You know, they should have picked me up in a gold car, solid gold, as the representative of Krishna. Yes. All right. So, okay. So, but how to do that? You know, how are we going to, how will our intelligence become sharp enough and clear enough to do this nicely, to do it nicely, without, on one hand, becoming materially attached in the name of using things in Krishna's service? And on the other hand, that we somehow or other will not use things in Krishna's service, and in that way our service to Krishna will become limited or restricted. So how are we going to figure all this out? So Prabhupada answers that. We're actually in the 12th paragraph, that in the neophyte stage of devotion, one must follow all the principles regulated by the authority of the spiritual master. The acceptance and rejection of things should always be in pursuance of the devotional principles, not that one can independently manufacture some idea of what should be accepted or rejected. The spiritual master, as the visible manifestation of Krishna, is necessary, therefore, to direct the devotee on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I mean, to direct in so many ways, but in this context, to direct in the sense of what to use in Krishna's service and what to not use in Krishna's service. And our dear devotees who make up the questions, they've given us a question here also for you Bhakti Shastris, and they have quoted Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 34, which I hope you already know already, but anyway, Tadvani pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana. Bhagavad Gita 4:34. So write that down, devotees. Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So you should remember what is that verse number, okay? Because I think you're going to be asked that. And anyway, we're not going to be able to finish the chapter, but let's just do what? Another paragraph, shall we? Let's see, at least in one more paragraph. And here Prabhupada, this is now paragraph 13, and Prabhupada again does an interesting thing, which he did in the much earlier stages of Nectar of Devotion, when we were dealing with the rules or the angas of not just like irresponsibly initiating people who are not qualified, or trying to read too many books just so you can become a sort of colorful presenter. That's Prabhupada warned spiritual masters. And I remember years ago when I first read Nectar of Devotion, I remember reading that and realizing, oh, Prabhupada is warning spiritual masters. But aren't spiritual masters people who give warnings and they don't need to receive warnings? But actually, yeah, here are warnings for spiritual masters. Don't become bewildered by wealth or followers. Prabhupada makes the point that, of course, this will not happen with really bona fide spiritual masters. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath, Shri Giri Govardhan, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Sometimes, just bear with us for 1 or maybe 2 minutes. I don't think more than that. Sometimes, if a spiritual master is not properly authorized and only on his own initiative becomes a spiritual master, he may be carried away by an accumulation of wealth and large number of disciples. Yes. His is not a very high grade of devotional service. If a person is carried away by such achievements, then his devotional service becomes slackened. One should therefore strictly adhere to the principles of devotion, of disciplic succession. Hare Krishna. We will carry on tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Hare Krishna.